Hello, all you freedom-loving people. Welcome to another episode of Front Page International. I'm your host, Scott Cameron Goulet. For the first time in history, a key pilot notification system failed, and for the first time since 9/11, all of the airlines grounded their planes in the United States. The cause is still unknown at this time. Joe Biden says that he doesn't know anything about the classified documents found at his office. Nevertheless, why are we just finding out about them now when they were actually found before the midterm elections? But what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So Kevin McCarthy is removing Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell and possibly Ilhan Omar from committees. 3 years after a plane carrying 176 passengers was shot down out of the sky in Iran, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is still able to operate in Canada. Meanwhile, a tenured professor at the University of Toronto in Canada was forced to resign for refusing to show proof of vaccination. Okay, let's get into it. After a key pilot notification system that is operated by the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, failed late on Tuesday, air travel was disrupted. All of the airlines have grounded planes in the United States, and the White House announced that an investigation has been initiated. For the first time in history, the FAA's Notice to Air mission system, which is crucial to relaying critical flight information, failed. According to the flight tracking website, approximately just over 1,200 flights were delayed as of Wednesday morning. The FAA said in a statement on Twitter, the FAA has ordered airlines to pause all domestic departures until 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to allow the agency to validate the integrity of flight and safety information. The agency added that it's still working to restore the system after an early advisory indicated that the outage continues with no current estimated time of restoration. Earlier this morning, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre announced on Twitter that Joe Biden was briefed on the outage and that there is no indication that it was caused by hackers. Canada also experienced a similar outage. NAV Canada posted on Twitter on Wednesday afternoon, NAV Canada's Canadian NOTAM entry system is currently experiencing an outage affecting newly issued NOTAMs, and we are working to restore function. Canada's system was restored shortly afterwards. NAV Canada then posted that NAV Canada continues to investigate the cause of the outage at this time. We do not believe it to be related to the FAA outage experienced earlier today. On Tuesday, Biden addressed the issue of classified documents that were discovered in his private office at the Penn Biden Center. He explained that he was surprised to learn that they existed, and he is cooperating fully with the Justice Department. During the North American Leaders Summit in Mexico City, Biden claimed that he takes classified documents and classified information seriously. He explained that his lawyers found these documents while cleaning out the office. Biden said they found some documents in a box, in a locked cabinet or at least a closet. But I don't know what's in the documents. Following the documents' disclosure, Republicans immediately reacted, with Senator Tom Cotton declaring that there can be no separate standards for Republicans and Democrats. The same rules must apply to everyone. Representative Jim Banks questioned on Tuesday classified documents were found at Joe Biden's think tank before the midterms. Why are we just finding out about them now? Representative Russ Folker indicated that the Biden administration has enjoyed friendly relations with the media, with government bureaucracies, and with the U.S. intelligence community, and that instances of potential wrongdoing by Biden and his administration have been swept under the rug. As Folker discussed the issue of possible political double standards, he said, "I don't think there's any question about it." House Oversight Committee Chairman Representative James Comer also said that the classified documents cases involving President Trump and Biden bring about further concern that there's a two-tier justice system within the DOJ with how they treat Republicans versus Democrats. On Monday, McCarthy said Dems overplayed their hand in their response to the FBI search at Mar-a-Lago. He also said that the Biden administration has tried to be political to President Trump. Elise Stefanik, The chair of the House GOP conference called the secrecy troubling, and she accused the Justice Department of concealing the findings. She said, "It is no wonder the American people do not trust the DOJ and FBI who have targeted Joe Biden's political opponents. Even Democrats are expressing concern about the documents." Representative Adam Schiff of California, who is the former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, said, "Obviously, if there are classified documents anywhere, they shouldn't be. That's a problem and a deep concern." House Speaker Kevin McCarthy confirmed that he will remove 3 Democrats from their House committees as part of his pre-midterm pledge. Representative Troy Nehls, a member of the conservative House Freedom Caucus, tweeted on Tuesday that Speaker McCarthy confirmed that Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell, and Ilhan Omar are getting kicked off the Intel and Foreign Affairs committees. Promises made, promises kept. This comes as an objection to Democrats that removed Paul Gosar and Marjorie Taylor Greene from their panels during the last Congress. McCarthy said last January that the Democrats have created a new thing where they're picking and choosing who could be on committees. He stated in November that he is concerned that Swalwell was compromised following reports that a Chinese spy infiltrated his campaign and became close to the congressman. He also added, "You have Adam Schiff, who had lied to the American public time and again. We will not allow him to be on the Intel committee either." So as for Omar, he said, she will be removed from the Foreign Affairs Committee over anti-Semitic remarks, as Speaker McCarthy can keep Schiff and Swalwell off the intelligence panels, but for any other committee, such as for Omar, the full House would need to vote in order to block her. JPMorgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon expressed concern around the rising debt's economic impact in an interview on Mornings with Maria. Dimon believes that U.S. government debt is not a today's problem, but will pose a hockey stick to the economy and Americans' wallets one day when it needs to be paid off. He said, "I'm talking about on the day that America can't pay its debt. That has potentially disastrous outcomes. Once American debt goes into default, a lot of people can't own it anymore. And American debt doesn't cross default, but it's cumulative." Dimon explained that he does not publicly blame or support one party over another, but that the newly sworn-in Congress should present other competent policies in education, healthcare, infrastructure, and even immigration. The CEO said, "We need to stop illegal immigration. We need more legal immigration." He also believes that rising interest rates from the Federal Reserve could create an economic problem. The top fixed income investor at BlackRock also warns that multiple industries might have trouble if interest rates keep rising. On Monday, Rick Reeder, who is BlackRock's chief investment officer of global fixed income, said that it is not only foolhardy to expect the U.S. Federal Reserve to stop raising interest rates this year, it would also be harmful to businesses with interest rate sensitivity. According to Reeder, businesses in the housing, commercial real estate, and automotive sectors could suffer the most this year. A tenured professor at the University of Toronto has resigned over its currently suspended mandatory vaccination policy. He said, "Such measures to force injections go against my beliefs." In a letter to students and colleagues, Alexander Andre, the professor of Latin and Medieval Studies, explained why he said that he was compelled to leave a tenured position at one of the world's foremost universities. While on leave in Sweden in 2021, Andre received letters from the university asking him to prove that he had been vaccinated or face forced leave or termination. Andre wrote, "Apparently tenure was worth noting in face of these mandates." Further, he pointed out that the measure made little sense since he was on leave thousands of kilometers away. He said that it signals the university's desire for total compliance. He is critical of the university for only pausing the mandates and for not retracting the termination threats that he received. Even if the vaccination policy is put on hold, Andre's letter makes clear that he cannot remain employed by the institution. Although the University of Toronto revoked its vaccine mandate on May 1st, 2022, the school's website states that it may reinstate vaccination requirements without notice, resulting in de-enrollment. Although the university faced a human rights complaint over its vaccination requirements policy, it still recommends that all students receive vaccination boosters. The university also makes it a requirement for students living on campus. Andre said that this experience has changed his perception of Canada. He witnessed Canadian society shifting from an almost whimsical freedom to one that seeks complete control. He said forcing medical products on people on pain of termination is, to my mind, unthinkable and will inevitably lead to the slippery slope to dictatorship. Since then, the former professor has moved permanently to Sweden, where he currently serves as Director of Research at the Museum of the Middle Ages in Stockholm. Anna Montez, a former U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency analyst, also known as the most destructive spy in U.S. history, was released from federal prison on Friday. What makes her special is that she is a spy, not for money or love, but because she believes she is doing the right thing, and she did it successfully. In 1997, she was awarded the Medal of Honor by CIA Director George Tenet. She is considered to be the best queen of Cuban intelligence in the agency. The Cuban authorities also awarded the Medal of Honor to Anna Montez, who is also the best Cuban intelligence officer. Anna Montez, who is now 65, was by any measure the most loyal and reassuring intelligence officer to the U.S. government. According to The Guardian, her father was a well-known military doctor who contributed greatly to the U.S. military medical system. Her family, including her, worked for the FBI and the Defense Intelligence Agency. However, this top intelligence officer became the most destructive traitor in the history of U.S. intelligence. She became the Cuban government's deepest hidden stake in the U.S. intelligence system simply for disagreeing with the U.S. government's policy in Central and South America. According to the report of the Inspector General of the U.S. Department of Defense and the testimonies of Anna Montez's friends from her youth, she had a left-wing ideology during her college and graduate school years. She sympathized with oppressed people, and she opposed the imperialist tendencies of the U.S. government, especially the Reagan administration's policies towards Latin America. She believed that the U.S. officially and privately collaborated with local right-wing dictatorships to suppress left-wing socialist countries such as Cuba. Anna Montez's qualities were discovered by the Cuban government's hidden stakes that were lurking on U.S. campuses. After radicalization training, she became a Cuban intelligence operative, and she was later recruited by U.S. intelligence services. Soon, Anna Montez rose through the ranks of the intelligence system. Not only was she qualified to read the highest level of intelligence, but she also became the Queen of Cuba within the Defense Intelligence Agency and the military. She advised the highest levels of U.S. policy on Cuba. Anna Montez also transmitted U.S. policy and information on Cuba from the highest levels to the Cuban leadership via code. It was not until 2001 when the DIA held a highly classified mole hunt operation and uncovered that Anna Montez was a Cuban mole buried deep in the United States. During her interrogation, the courtroom found that Anna Montez received little financial support from the Cuban government, thinking that she was doing the right thing because Cuba needed her help to fight the oppression of the U.S. government. Anna Montez, who always believed that she had done nothing wrong, was sentenced to 25 years in prison by a U.S. court for being a spy who did not love money, who was not afraid to die, and who had no regrets. Anna Montez was released on parole last week after serving her 20-year sentence, but she must still be monitored for 5 years, and she's not allowed to re-enter government service. 3 years after Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752 was shot out of the sky in 2020, the families of the victims gathered in Toronto, Canada to hold the tragedy's third anniversary. On January 8, 2020, Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752 was shot down minutes after taking off from Tehran, Iran, by an Iranian surface-to-air missile. A total of 176 people were killed, including 55 Canadian citizens and 30 permanent residents. There was also victims from Afghanistan, Sweden, and Ukraine. Although the brutal attack shocked the world, Iran has not been held accountable for its crime to this day. Families are still waiting for justice after 3 years, wondering why their governments haven't done more. The organizers of the anniversary explained the association's demands to Justin Trudeau and to a number of senior cabinet ministers. The president of the association, Hamed Ismailian, said that among the demands is that the Canadian government list the entire Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organization. Ismailian added, the world must understand that they have no place in the international community, and most importantly, they do not represent the great people of Iran. In October, Trudeau's government barred more than 10,000 former IRGC members from entering Canada, but it has remained hesitant to list the entire Corps as a terrorist organization. Also speaking at the ceremony, federal Conservative leader in Canada, Pierre Poilievre, called for harsher sanctions against the Iranian regime. This includes listing the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organization, which has also been echoed by the family members of the victims. Poilievre said it is good to call out the IRGC as an evil terrorist organization, but it is appalling that today, 3 years after this organization murdered 85 of our own people, it is perfectly legal in Canada for this organization to operate. And today, it's impossible to stay silent on Iran. The country has been rocked by 110 days of mass protests and strikes following the killing of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini. As of January 7th, 517 protesters have died. This includes 70 children, and nearly 20,000 people have been arrested. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember that every like, comment, and share helps more people to see the truth. We've also heard from many of our viewers that they don't get notifications of our videos anymore from YouTube. So please follow us on Telegram, Gab, Getter, and on True Social for the latest updates. Okay, this is our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, please don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and family, because everybody deserves to know the truth. Again, thank you for watching Front Page, and we will see you next time.